wanted to go over the basics with your Rebel Gutter Guard kit that you bought from Ace Hardware. This is the 39-foot kit, and when you take it out of the box, this is what you're going to find: the gutter guard with instructions and screws and a setter. This is what the setter looks like, and that is what the screws look like that's in that packet that you got at Ace Hardware. There's some accessories that you can also get, and let's talk about those. As we spoke, this is the installation guide with the screws and setter, but you could also get an inside miter that's specially designed for high water flow situations. You can see it here with the Rebel Gutter Guard coming next to it. Up here is the actual 3-foot piece of Rebel Gutter Guard. You can see the raised teardrops, which is a patented design that slows the water down and allows it to go in better than any other gutter guard and suspends debris up in the air to allow it to blow off easily. There's accessories that you can get, and this is the holiday light clip. Allows you to hang holiday and Christmas lights. These are valley diverters, so sometimes the valley has water rushing down so fast that it spills over. This slows the water down, allows it to go through the gutter guard better. This is the end cap or trim packs. They have 2 names to them. You trim those for the corner pieces that go on an outside of a gutter, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then right here is the cover strips, which go on the outside corners, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So a full line of accessories for your Rebel Gutter Guard sold exclusively at Ace Hardware. Now let's get into installation. Now that you bought your Rebel Gutter Guard from Ace Hardware, and we discussed what comes in the kit: 39 feet, instructions, screws, and a setter. But also, while you're at Ace, you might want to pick up some tin snips to cut the gutter guard with, some clear silicone to fill in the gaps and the joints when needed. You might need an extra hex head driver, and that is a 1/4 inch, and any standard drill that you might have or buy at Ace Hardware. Let's talk about areas of the gutter that you'll need to know about when installing Rebel Gutter Guards. This is the end cap, and there's an installation method and trim packs for that. This is the field coming into a inside miter. There are several methods to do that. We'll show that to you today. And we're coming over here to the outside miter and another field where we're going to terminate here at another end cap. So let's get started. Let's show 2 different kind of end caps. This end cap shows Rebel Gutter Guards just being cut and folded over, and we'll show you more in detail how that's done. The second is just a simple cut and using the trim caps or end caps that are also sold online at acehardware.com or in the store. So here is one. It's trimmed to fit. This one has been trimmed. And you see how nicely that looks, keeping birds and wasps and bugs from getting in from the side. Both methods work well. So let's show you how this is done. So here's our finished end cap. Let's take a closer look. In order to achieve this, you have to cut the ends off and trim the mesh. A good way to start is take about 5 inches off. That gives you plenty of screen to work with. pull the back off, pull the front off. You can see that you're going to bend that down at a 90 degree. Then you can either mark it with a Sharpie or from the side, kind of gauge how you want that to look. So I want it to go down about 2 inches to 3 inches in the gutter. And I want it nice and tight up to the side. And there we have the finished piece. And we'll finish it off with a screw. And that gives you a nice end cap using just the Rebel gutter guard, preventing birds from entering in the side and building nests inside, or bees and hornets getting in there. A finishing touch to an end cap is to use the silicone, putting some in the front, down the side, and up the back, locking that screen in place, and again, not letting any ants get in there or bees get in there. This is very handy. I recommend you use it to touch up. Now let's look at a second method for an end cap. We can put our gutter guard just to the end. Then using an end cap that we're going to cut to place makes a nice, clean, and attractive look. Recommend putting one screw right here. So let's go ahead and make one from what we've got here. First thing I want to do is take this piece and put a 45-degree bend in it. Just get one edge. I'm going to use the roof as my edge, giving about a ½ an inch, and just pressing down. That gives me my 45 or 90-degree angle here. I just maneuver it a little bit with my fingers. This is aluminum, so it's pretty easy to cut. Next, I'm going to then angle that to where I need it to be. And look, so I need to cut straight across here on an angle. I have my line. And then I'm going to come up. And I have a pretty good representation of what I'm looking for. I have to do a little bit of fine tuning. See how she fits. There we go. You can see that was fairly easy. And we'll put a screw in both the gutter guard and the underneath. Now this is slid underneath. locks both in place. Let's take a closer look. See how that was slid underneath? Again, it was slid underneath. Got the gutter guards in place. Sliding that in. You might have to make a couple of little fine-tuned cuts to get it just the way you want it. And that's how you do an end cap or from the trim pack. Let's find out how to install an inside miter. This is an example of an inside miter installed, and here's what the two pieces look like prior to getting installed. And we cut these from the standard Rebel 3-foot piece. As you can see, we cut a 45 and then notch, and we cut a 45 and then notch to bring these together to form an inside miter. So let's disassemble this and then let's get started, and I'll show you how to do this. We'll remove installed, showing you that one overlaps the other. As you can see, we want to install this one and then follow it up with its sister piece there. So let's show you how we cut these from our regular 3-foot pieces. Start with our tin snips, and to make things simple, I'm going to take a 3-foot piece and just simply cut it in half. It's just easier to work with. You can use a full piece if you wish. And then I use the overhangs to the outside. So as you can see, this is what we're trying to duplicate. So it's pretty straightforward. You want to be able to cut on a 45, and if you just follow the pattern, it gives you the 45 you're looking for. And then notch right to it. Then we have our piece. A helpful hint is, as this gets installed, you might want to trim just about an inch of this out for easier installation. Now that you see we've duplicated our piece, let's look at the other one. We're trying to get that accomplished. So the first order of business is to do our 45. And we want to cut in the valley that gives us our best coverage. And when I mean alley, the alley between the patterns, as you can see. I'm going to go ahead and cut straight. Remove this piece. I'm almost there. So now after I cut this piece, I want to go 2 inches back and just cut off the metal and not the screen. And so I'm just cutting the metal, and I gently pull that off. Now here's an important point. We don't want to cut the screen all the way to the metal. We just want to cut it equal to the bottom lip. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to cut it on the bottom lip there. That allows me to get the screen coverage because this is going to stop on the inside gutter lip. So now you can see we're almost there. And as I put this here, I can see I could cut a little bit more, and I want to give a little bit of a roundness to it so it doesn't catch as I go underneath. So I'm just going to give a quick notch, and I now have something that's going to overlap pretty well. So I'm going to just clean this up just a little bit, and I'm going to put a little downward pressure on this screen so that it touches the screen below it, just a little bit. And so there we have it, what we're looking for getting installed. So as you install this, we want this edge to go to the inside lip. We're going to bring this over. And we pull them so that they can meet. This might take a little bit of adjustment here and there. But eventually you'll get that done. You can now see how well that meets together. So the last part we need to do is put some screws in here. So I usually go about 6 inches back. I'm lined up. Now we have our permanently installed inside miter. Now let's do a little bit of touch-up with our clear silicone. And that is just putting a dab right in the corner here and across the top. And I like to put a little bead right there in the form of a V. Smooth that out with my finger. That allows the water to then get directed left and right because of the raised screen patterns. The debris to be able to be lifted up and blown off, cleaned a lot easier. And that little bit of silicone will stop any drips from coming over. That's a great way to install on an inside miter. Let's go ahead and show this in more detail. Remember, underneath the roof and on top of the moisture barrier. Self-tapping screws make it easy. These are coated screws, so they're not going to rust. Allow the Rebel dog bones to overlap. silicone seal to fill that little gap due to the gutter installation. Here we have an installed outside miter. Let's take a closer look. Pretty easy installation. You're going to be cutting the gutter guard 1 inch up and then at a 45 and then remove 1 inch back. And the same with the other side. Come up, cutting 1 inch of the screen straight, 45, and then 1 inch out of the back. What that allows for is an easy installation. This one, and then this one. This one is being bent down, so you take your palm and hand and you bend it down. That puts pressure and makes a great seal on the other piece. Putting that in. So let me demonstrate how to do that. So here's our piece. We want to cut 1 inch up, then follow a 45. And that's nice because the pattern is at a 45. And then 1 inch back. And then we have our piece. Now let's do its sister piece. 1 inch up, following a 45, following the pattern. Remember, put downward pressure, about a 1/2 inch. Make that seal. Go ahead and do the straight piece install first. And its sister piece in second. And you can see that was pretty straightforward. Let's finish it off. Put our self-tapping screws in. Get it nice and aligned. We're not quite finished. Talked about the silicone sealant, filling in a little gap right there. That's our finished product. Now let's add one more detail. To add a finishing piece or a simpler installation, we can use the cover strips that are available at Ace Hardware that matches the Rebel gutter guards. This is one of them. They come in a 6-pack and it's designed to cover that seam. So you just notch a 45, 45, trim to fit, and it goes out, and then you just tuck it right in there and it stays in place. So you've been installing the Rebel gutter guard And now it's time to finish the job and put the remaining pieces in. It's always best to do the end caps and the inside miters and the outside miters first, and then fill in the gap. So now you have two pieces. As we recommend, you can come in and mark it. If you don't have a pencil handy to physically mark that, you could always take your tool and put a slight scratch mark where you want to cut. And if you remember, we want to keep a dog bone on this piece to overlap this piece. Cut the front, notch the back, bend, and cut through. Just the metal, not the screen. Follow the pattern in the back, cut. Remember what side of the piece you're cutting, so you want to leave the dog bone on this side. Slight downward pressure on each of the dog bones allows for a good seal after you put the screws in. Under the roof, but on top of the moisture barrier or tar paper. And there we have a great seal. So let's finish this gutter. It's always best to put a screw about 2 inches away from the edge. The setter and screws come with it. It's magnetized for easy installation. Drill in lightly with light pressure. Let's take a closer look. What's unique about Rebel gutter guards is the raised screen allows debris to sit on top and blow off for easier cleaning. Every gutter guard needs maintenance, but Rebel needs the least amount of maintenance than any other gutter on the market. As you remember, we cut, leaving our dog bone for the overlap, putting downward pressure. Fits in, and finish the job with screws. Now that you've finished your gutter guard installation with Rebel gutter guards and your gutters are all protected, let's say you want to put on some holiday light clips. How do you do that? Well, Rebel has a solution. Rebel sells a holiday light clip that matches the gutter guard system. Let's show you how to put that on. Here is the clip. It is designed to be attached to the very front and then bent down. And by doing that, it allows the holiday light clip to hold on. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, you can always cut the back off, grab a screw, and give it a bend. You can bend it across a table. I'm using a set of shears just to bend it. And you can go right in on the top of your gutter guard and install it that way. This is a permanent way to do it. And this is a temporary because you can pull them off. But once you put them on and bend it down, the lights hold it in place. But when you remove the lights, you can pull these back off if you don't want to keep them all year round. So let's go ahead and do some install, and I'll show you what the final product looks like. Here we have the Rebel holiday light clips, showing how they do their job holding the holiday Christmas lights up. Let's take a brief tour around the gutter to see how beautiful these lights are. The Rebel holiday light clips come in a pack of 25. You can use the clip-on bend over or the cut the back and bend installation method. And there they are, the holiday light clips. It's time to finish the installation. I'm going to secure the last piece of gutter guard that I have here. Here's a full piece of Rebel. I'm going to make sure my dog bones are there. A little downward pressure as it meets up with the next one. Underneath the shingle, but on top of the moisture barrier, giving a nice overlap. Rebel comes with 3 pre-hole drilled screw holes. With the galvanized style self-tapping screws. Now here I am, going to terminate the end. So I'm going to do the Foldover method. We went ahead and cut to the length we wanted at. And then we're going to leave 5 inches of gutter guard mesh as our end cap. The easiest way to do that is just to cut off a piece. Save that for later, maybe as a repair or later on in the installation. And we can pull the front and the backs off. Go ahead and put our downward 90 degree. And then we trim to fit. Sometimes fine tuning is needed. How our first adventure in cutting left us here. Looks like we did a good job on our first cut. Now let's finish it up. There we have our completely sealed gutter guard, and use silicone down the back, along the front, and a little bit around the side here to make sure that no bees or ants can get inside. There you have it, a protected gutter guard for your home. So let's take a detailed look at our gutter guard Rebel installation. There's our end cap we made using the Rebel gutter guard as the screen. There's our field with our overlap dog bones. Here's our outside miter where we used the cover strip, which is available at Ace Hardware. This is the Hi-Flo inside miter installation. That's an optional item that you can buy at acehardware.com or in the store. And the end cap installation method, where we used a trim pack and trim to fit. The tools that we use today are a silicone to seal the joints and the holes, a hand drill, tin snips. The driver and screws come with the gutter guards, the 39-foot kit. Typically a home has 140 feet of gutter, so you'll need to buy multiple 39-foot packs where you'll get extra screws and setters. For more information, go to the website rebelgutterguards.com or click the link from the acehardware.com/rebelgutterguards, or check out the installation guide that's in every kit.